So how about now? How's everybody doing out there? Okay. It is a commencement, so you are going to have to find some more energy in the next 35, 40 minutes because this is a fantastic day for these kids. So it is so good to see you all. I know some are from afar and some are close up. I can't tell you how honored I am to be here today. So welcome. Welcome to commencement for the class of 2020. Tonight, this afternoon, we all gather to honor the great accomplishments of the students before you. So please stand and join me with Senior Class Vice President Mary James as she leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Wait.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Play ball.
Please be seated. We will get to play ball, right? July, I believe. So, a Renaissance man is defined as someone who has a variety of interests and areas of knowledge. Ane Gotham exemplifies this idea. A fantastic student with a passion for computer science, an athlete who loves the sport of tennis, and an innovator who took these passions and for the past 5 years has volunteered at the Western Southern Open, where he helped to develop a unique computer program for the tournament. Ane has already begun leaving his mark on the world. In preparation for this day, I asked Ane, what message would you want to leave for the class of 2020? He summarized that concept in what he called the 5 H's. He said, be humble, be healthy, be helpful, be hungry, and be happy. Ane has been part of the Indian Hill community for the past 5 years and has certainly exuded the 5 H's along the way. In the fall, Ane will be heading to the Georgia Institute of Technology, where he will further pursue his passions and make his mark on the world. It is my honor to welcome your salutatorian of the class of 2020, Mr. Ane Gotham.
On behalf of the class of 2020, I would like to introduce the special guests who are joining us this evening, starting with our members of the Board of Education, Mrs. Nancy Akeholes, Mrs. Kim Martin-Lewis, Dr. Eddie Hooker, Mrs. Elizabeth Johnson, Mrs. Nikki Singh, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Kirk Kennecke, Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Melissa Stewart, District Treasurer, Mr. Mick Davis, Director of Pupil Services, Erica Leppert, and Mrs. Heather Higdon, Director of Communications. From the elementary school, Assistant Principal, Dr. Erin Owens, Middle School Principal, Mrs. Jennifer Uland, Assistant Principal, Mr. Cash Hayden, High School Principal, Mr. Jeff Damadeo, and Assistant Principal, Mr. Mike Hayes, and finally, the outstanding faculty and staff of Indian Hill High School. Thank you all for being here to share this evening with us. Now, will everyone please rise and join in the singing of our national anthem, Boys Remove Hats.
My first memory that highlights just how special and unique Jonah Sorsha is was back in 2017 as he and our amazing theater crew performed Anne in Green Gables. Playing the role of Gilbert Blythe, the boyfriend of Anne Shirley, who is the main character performed by Junior Riley Grace, I was simply in awe of the sheer talent that this amazing young man possesses. Since then, Jonah has been part of every musical production Indian Hill has staged, and his talent has simply grown. Featured on Local 12 almost 1 year ago, Jonah was captured participating in the Cincinnati Piano Project, sponsored by the In the Round Theater Company, where the goal was simply to bring the love of music to others. Whether in the classroom or on the stage, Jonah simply shines. Although I will miss seeing Jonah running into school across these very bricks every day at exactly 7:59 and 58 seconds, I cannot wait to see what the future holds for this outstanding brave. As a native New Yorker, I can close my eyes and see the bright lights of Broadway surrounding his picture as he shares his gift with countless others. But perhaps what impresses me most about Jonah is not his musical talent or his ridiculous dance moves, but his heart. Over a month ago, when asked what his favorite memory was from Indian Hill High School, he talked about being asked to be part of the Courageous Conversation student group, a group dedicated to discussing equity and inclusion in our school. A true leader, he challenges all of us to see the good in everyone and make sure that together we thrive. One of the most important character traits you want to see in your students and in your own children is confidence in who they are and what they believe in. Jonah embodies this idea every day and makes the world a better place and brings smiles to all who interact with him. In the fall, Jonah will continue his education and passionate pursuit of music at Harvard University. It is my honor to welcome the valedictorian of the class of 2020, Mr. Jonah Sorsha.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank Mr. Damadeo and the administration, who have worked tirelessly to put together the best possible graduation we could have given the circumstances. I know so many other schools that have had their graduation over Zoom, so I feel so lucky to have an administration that listens to its students and always strives to give us the best possible experience. When I stepped foot into this building 4 years ago, I could never have imagined how different I would be walking out of it. Throughout high school, all around us, our lives are constantly changing. Each year, we'd have 7 completely different teachers, each teaching us 7 completely different courses. Each year, we'd make new friends, and we'd lose some. Each year, we changed our interests, we changed our values, we changed our hair, some of us a bit too much, choices. Some things died, and they died hard. Rest in peace to the era of the clout goggles. It was a valiant effort. But it's all these changes that have shaped us into the people that we are today. Now, some things never change. I know that all's well with the world when I scroll through my feed after a football game to see that it's been flooded with pictures from the army of camo girls proclaiming that they forgot to wear pants. Seriously, though, if it weren't for the many traditions we established here at Indian Hill, we wouldn't be standing here having this ceremony today. But even traditions must adapt. Look around you. This isn't the graduation any of us expected. And yet here we are, about to enter an uncertain world that's changing every single day. We may never return to life as we know it. And in some ways, that's terrifying. But perhaps this is a wake-up call to the fact that life as we know it was broken to begin with. The pandemic has exposed the systemic inequality that exists throughout this country like never before, and the threat it poses to our safety has made us that much more aware of the fact that we only have one life to live. So I stand here with you today and ask you, what better time than now to make a change? I was talking with some friends the other day about which decades we all belong in, and someone said, I wish I could have lived in the 60s so that I could have been part of the civil rights era or the women's liberation movement. And that's when I realized, this, right now, this is our 1960s. People everywhere are protesting for the rights of those who have been silenced for too long, whether it be because of their race, their gender, their sexual orientation, and in many ways, it's working. As a queer person living in Ohio myself, I had no protection from the fact that I could be fired from my job based on my sexual orientation until last week. Now, I feel confident that because of the love you all have given me, together we can make a difference. But this fight is far from over, and if we want to see true progress, we've got to be willing to be in it for the long haul. In the words of Robert Frost, quote, "The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep." So, as we move into this next chapter of our lives, we need to take what we've learned in these past 4 years with us. Just like we made changes throughout high school to shape us into who we wanted to be, it's up to us to make the changes that we want to see in the world. Because if we keep advocating for a return to normalcy, how will we as a society ever grow? Yes, I know how frustrating it is that this pandemic had to happen at a pivotal time in our lives. But this is also a pivotal time in our history. It's our time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonah. Well, welcome, friends, again, families, colleagues, and most of all, the class of 2020. I almost cannot believe we are together today celebrating this amazing group of seniors. Getting us here today has been an interesting and arduous process, and I would like to start by saying thank you to all of you out there, for your patience and flexibility as daily updates, restrictions, and guidelines due to COVID-19 have dictated the possibility of such a ceremony. To say that it is a pleasure addressing you all tonight is an understatement, as 12 weeks ago, all of this was uncertain. But before I begin, I'd like to take a moment and thank all who helped make it Indian Hill an exceptional place to work, learn, and grow. To the Board of Education, PTO, boosters, foundation, teams, clubs, and community partners, thank you for your continued dedication and commitment to our Braves and providing us with the ability and support to allow their dreams to become reality. I must also give a special shout out to Mr. Scott Kimmons, Mr. Denny Dubs, Mrs. Donna Frickman, Mrs. Mary Helen Hedgebeth, and Mrs. Karen Post, who together worked tirelessly these past few weeks to help make this moment happen. I'd like for all of us to give them a round of applause, if you may. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child, and so I must express my sincere appreciation and gratitude for our entire staff. Almost 3 months ago, seemingly overnight, our entire world changed in an instant, forcing all of us to make bold decisions, pivot, adapt, and jump headfirst into a learning environment never before navigated by so many of us. Our staff embraced the circumstances and met the challenge head-on, quickly modifying, creating, learning, relearning, and unlearning so much of what has become natural for us for so long. This collective effort, district-wide, was nothing short of extraordinary, and I am simply in awe of the passion, dedication, and all-in attitude of all who called Indian Hill Exempted Village School District their home. Class of 2020. Approximately 11 months ago, that is one more month than it's supposed to be, we sat together in the auditorium and began talking about your year as seniors at Indian Hill High School. In a place rooted in tradition and excellence, I challenged all of you to raise the bar on yourselves and leave a legacy that you, your family, and all of Braves Nation could be proud of. Who knew that this school year, an unknown agent would influence that legacy and script itself into the story of the class of 2020? However, last month, during our class of 2020 video celebration, when we had a chance to celebrate each of you, hear the amazing musical performances and speeches of many of you, all of us were reminded that the legacy we leave, the legacy you leave, does not have to be defined by COVID-19. Each day, our actions will define our story, and since the closing of school in early March, I have seen the class of 2020 do extraordinary things. In fact, I remember during the very first Google chat I hosted, Ellie Bayless and Mary James called in from a local assisted living center where they were delivering meals, immediately thinking about others and some of those who are the most vulnerable community members. Since Friday, March 13th, yes, that was Friday the 13th when schools closed, I have seniors call one another, encourage one another, bake cookies together, play music together, create PPE for our frontline workers together, and simply meet with one another, maintaining social distancing, of course, except for Luke Lundberg and Duke Weiler, who in the first Google chat were absolutely next to each other, but that's for another day. As I reflect on this year, I cannot help to express what a joy it is to work here alongside all of you each day. Greeting each of you in the morning, rain or shine, seeing you walk in with one another, ready to take on the day, is often the best part of my day, and certainly something I have missed terribly since quarantine began. As I reflect on this year, I will not allow the circumstances of today diminish, erase, or negatively impact the legacy that the class of 2020 has helped to create. Your final year, guys, has been truly unforgettable. Seniors, look around. Tonight is your moment. Although it may look different than expected, although it may have taken longer to be here than originally planned, tonight marks the culmination and celebration of all that you have worked so very hard for. For some, you have walked the halls of Indian Hill for 13 years. For others, you have joined us recently, bringing new perspectives, new stories, and making our great school even better. But remember, it is just the beginning. Although we face an uncertain future, and at times with all that's going on in the world, it may seem bleak, I will challenge you again to think past that. Mark Twain once said, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones that you did. So throw off the bow lines, sail away for safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, and discover. With what seemed like daunting obstacles ahead, it would be easy to make excuses and find comfort in not taking risks. It is the fear of failure that can often be most paralyzing. And taking that first step is often the hardest. Whatever it is that you will soon pursue as you head to new adventures, remember, amazing things do not happen from places of comfort. Taking calculated risks is how dreams become realized and the impossible becomes obtainable. During quarantine, I challenge you all to model the way and finish strong. Whether in person or remote, your actions help to script the story and leave your legacy. And seniors, you did not disappoint. So finally, if the current crisis has taught us anything, it is the importance of meaningful and authentic connection. Stephen Covey writes that what you do has a far greater impact than what you say. The world is a better place when we walk this life together. So I challenge you again to be your best each day and inspire others along the way. Continue to connect with one another, encourage one another, and root for one another. Now more than ever, we need to show the world that this generation, your generation, is ready to take on the challenges of tomorrow and help build a brighter future for us all. Explore, dream, and discover. This is not goodbye, seniors. Simply see you soon. Congratulations, and let's go Braves. And now, Mr. Konecki and the members of the Board of Education, I am pleased to present for graduation the class of 2020. At this time, I would like to ask our school counselors, Mr. Lateef Johnson and Mrs. Niles Cottrell, to come forward and read the roll of graduates.
If we could have row one stand up. And you're going to go to Mr. Hayes, proceed up the steps. Jonah James Sorsher. Anay Jadhav Gotham. Louisa Rose Klassner. Mary Jordan James. Vivek Alamari. Marjorie Horton Alf. Peyton Anna Allen. William Emerson Andrews. Madeline Grace Antonucci. Marjona Hassan Asharova. Prancher Singh Bamber. Ellie Michelle Bayless. Lucia Shaho Bell. Sheho. And you'll have to charge any mispronunciations to my head, not my heart. Thank you so much. Mark Joseph Bennett. Sailor Delaney Betts. Vondry Bernard Philip Bonion. Row 2, you may rise. David William Borden. Zoe Elizabeth Bradford. Sean Arthur Bridge. Caitlin Laureen Breedis. Matthew James Breedis II. Concha Tappan Butch. Nicholas Amir Bullis. Elizabeth Ann Burns. Landry Richard Butkus. Marion Adams Kane. William Joseph Campa. Jensen Lane Cassidy. Anne Louise Whaley. Lynn Troy. Morgan Ashley Coburn. J. Taylor Consolino. Dylan Aria Cunningham. Row 3, you may rise and come forward. McCrae Robert Durbin. Devin Dale Edwards.
Catherine Taylor Folger. Isabel Catherine Froelich. Hunter Catherine Fry. Cecilia Chinsey Fu. Alexander Michael Galbraith. Daniel Richard Galloway. Callaway Elizabeth Gibson. Christopher Dowie G. Nicholas Ward Gillen. Elisa Gnayinsky. Saskia Christina Gabanya. Nicholas Edward Grossi.
Parents, family, friends, colleagues, please give another round of applause for the class of 2020.
Thank you, members of the Board of Education. On behalf of the class of 2020, I proudly accept these diplomas. Seniors, please stand at this time. Seniors, please move your tassel from the right to the left to symbolize that we have graduated. Seniors, please be seated. And now I would like to introduce the Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Konecki.
Good evening. I'm so proud to be here this evening in the presence of the class of resilience, the class of patience, the class of leaders before me, the esteemed class of 2020. We asked of you something that we have not asked of any graduating class before you. In the midst of a crisis, in the midst of uncertainty, in the midst of change, we called upon you to be the light. You who learned here, you who served here, you who created here, our senior students. You are who we look to for inspiration, and it is to you we will continue to look to use your light to guide us into the future. You have been brave. We are so proud of you. This is what we wish for you to remember as you enter the next exciting chapter in the story of your life. When you feel lost, when you feel uncertain, when you feel darkness, come home to what you learned here. This is the place that gave you fuel. You grew in this space. It nourished you. Let this place continue to serve as your lighthouse to guide you. Let this place be the one that lives in your memory as one of safety and love. Your brave family will always be right here. Class of 2020, you made history. You will make history. I'm certain of that. I'm so excited to see the bright futures you create for yourself and for our world. I bid you congratulations as graduates. I greet you now as Indian Hill High School alumni. Never forget, you are, and you always will be, Braves. Lead on. Congratulations, class of 2020.
We're going to give you a little exit music, but Mr. Kimmons was staring at the Rockets. All right, so folks, first and foremost, congratulations. At this time, seniors, I'm going to ask you guys, go back with your families, take a couple of pictures, embrace this moment. Now listen, before you go up, as the email said, the gowns that you are wearing on your way out, you will see a red tent and a guy holding his arms out like this. As you drive by, you can simply give your gown to them, and they will take it. Folks, congratulations. Thank you for being here. One last round of applause, please, for the class of 2020. Wonderful night, everybody.
Well, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you. I want you to have it all. 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 May you be as fascinating as a slap bracelet. May you keep the chaos and the clutter off your desk. May you have unquestionable health and less stress. Having no possessions, though immeasurable wealth. May you get a gold star on your next test. May your educated guesses always be correct. And may you win prizes shining like diamonds. May you really own it each moment to the next. Or may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows.